Hello aspirants, welcome to the another session of the Anthropology series of UPSC Vidyalaya. In this session, let us understand about the Purusharthas and Ashrama system mentioned in chapter 3.1 of paper 2, and this is presented by me Sailaja, Areti. Before we dive into the topic, let us understand about what all the topics which are mentioned in our syllabus. Our syllabus is talking about the structure and nature of the traditional Indian social system, which includes Varnashrama, Purushartha, Karma, Rina, Rebirth, and apart from that, we also have joint family system and caste system. All these principles together, they are called as the fundamental principles. They are the fundamental principles of the traditional Indian social system. In short, we call this as the Hindu social system or Hindu social way of life. But the term Hinduism is coined by the European scholars. Then, what did Indians call their religious, socio-cultural, political, and philosophical beliefs prior to the Europeans? They called it as the Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma, which means the eternal law, and this eternal law has to be followed by every individual in their every phase of life. So, guys, please note that Varnashrama and Purushartha, these principles are intertwined together. In order for us to understand Purushartha properly, we need to have a fair idea about what Varnashrama system, that is the Ashrama system, is talking about. So, without much delay, let us actually understand the etymological meaning of Purusharthas. So, Purushartha is a compound Sanskrit word which is a combination of two words, that is the Purusha and the Artha. The word Purusha in Rigveda signifies about the soul, which can also be called as man or human being. Okay? And Artha in Darshana school of thought, it is considered to be the object of desire. So in this combination, Purushartha is the objectives of man. We can call it as the goals of man or the objectives of human pursuit. All these are the meaning of Purusharthas. Okay? According to Bharat Ratna awardee Panduranga Vamanakane, he explained the concept of Purusharthas is not only restricted to Hindu social thought, but it is also find mention in certain religions like Buddhism and Jainism. So, as we all know, this Buddhism and Jainism are the heterodox religions which are found in India in the 6th millennium BCE. Okay, so derived this concept from the Upanishads. They are largely influenced by the Upanishads. Okay, and apart from that, Kapadia's book on history of Dharma Shastras tries to explain, differentiate the lives of humans from non-humans. Now, let us understand about what all things which comes into Purusharthas. The Purusharthas comprises of the four basic principles, that is the Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. So, all of these four principles together, they are called as Chaturvargas or Purusharthas Chatushtaya. The first three principles, that is the Dharma, Artha, and Kama, they are called as Trivargas. If one follows these principles properly, then what will it happen? It will lead them into the moksha. So, moksha means the liberation from the birth and death cycle. So, the liberation from the birth and death cycle. So, this is actually a vicious cycle. Say, for an example, if you are born, then you will have desires. In order to fulfill your desires, you will work hard, you will neglect the divine divinity, or you will commit sin that will attract the death. So, because of your unlawful life, once again you are actually born, and this keeps on continuing. So, the ultimate pursuit of human life is to attain the moksha. So, what happens in moksha? According to Hindu philosophy, every human being consists of soul, and the soul is unperishable. Okay, death occurs to the human body, not to the soul. So the unification of Atman, that is the Atman of a body, that is Atman of one, if it unites with the Paramatman, that is the primeval body, then that is we call it as moksha, which we call it as salvation. Okay. So now let us understand about the ashrama system. Why we need to understand about the ashrama system? Because the concept of purushartha has been manifested in the framework of ashramas. Ideally speaking, the life of Hindu is divisible into four stages of lifespan. What are they? They are brahmacharya, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. So now let us understand about the flow chart which actually unites this ashrama system with that of Purusharthas. Okay. Can you see Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa? What are they? They are the fourfold ashrama system. And here we have Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha, which comprises of the Purusharthas. Now let us understand about the first phase of life, that is the Brahmacharya. So the initial phase is dedicated to being a student. What happens in student life? Tell me. So, in the student life involves the celibacy, self denial, and the pure contemplation under the guidance of Guru. And the brahmachari is expected or supposed to indulgence in the non indulgence of the Ardha and Kama at this phase of life. Okay. So, this phase of life usually starts in the eighth year of a child. So, what happens in the eighth year? There happens a sacred thread ceremony which we call it as the Upanayana Sanskara. When the Guru certifies that the boy was now a man, now he enters the second phase of life which we call it as Grihastha. This Grihastha phase of life starts with a ceremony which is called as Vivaha. Vivaha, which means the marriage ceremony. So according to Manu, he is in the view that this is the stage full of bliss and blessings. But what we need to understand this is this Grihastha phase of life or the Grihastha ashrama is a critically important ashrama in all the ashrama system because Dharma, Artha, Kama, the basic triology is translated into action. So here can you see? So the Dharma, Artha, Kama, this triology is actually manifested into the action. So that is the reason this phase of life is very, very important. After that, we have the Vanaprastha. So Vanaprastha involves the retirement stage. So you should have to gradually detach from the material world. How you will gradually detach from the material world? By transferring the duties to the children, dedicating more time in the religious practices like bhajan, visiting the temples, or embarking on the holy pilgrimages. That's how the Vanaprastha life is actually fulfilled. And the final stage of life, that is the sannyasa, the very important, the final stage of life, that is the sannyasa, which involves the total detachment. So, total detachment from the society. Now, the individual transferred into sannyasi is to preach truth here because he has seen all the life. So, now by this time, he has understood the truth. He has to teach the people what is sorrows and sufferings are all important. Okay, and if he has led his life properly according to the Dharma and fulfill all his duties properly, then he will get reward. And finally, after his death, he will attain the moksha, that is the liberation or the salvation. If one fails to perform their duties properly and fails to observe Dharma in their life, it attracts the punishment. Once again, he will born and he has to perform all these ashramas one after another. Did you understood that? So now let us understand about all these Purusharthas one after another. The first Purushartha is the Dharma, which is very, very important. Okay. So it is derived from the Sanskrit word dhar, which means to support or to nourish. What is the Dharma actually involves? Righteousness, noble qualities. Righteousness, noble qualities, virtues, values, ethics, all these things are part of Dharma. Okay. So Dharma regulates the enjoyment of Artha and Kama. So that is the most important point. So we have already understood about the Trivargas. What are they? That is the Dharma, Artha, and Kama. In the case of conflict between this Trivargat, it is the Dharma which has to prevail. Okay, so Dharma is important in the Trivargas. So now let us understand about the ancient texts which are explaining about the concept of Dharma. We have Manusmriti and the Yajnavalkya Smriti. Both of these ancient texts are talking about the Dharma way of life. Not only that, the Sangam text, that is the Tirukural. So mention me in the comment section who has actually authored this Tirukural. Okay. So Tirukural is explaining about this Dharma and they have a Tamil word associated to it which is called as Aram. Okay. So according to Panduranga Vaman Kane, in his History of Dharma Shastra, he explained Dharma as the rights and duties of man, his duties and privileges as a member of the Aryan community, his special duties, rights, and function as a member of the social group or caste or Varna Dharma, the rights and obligation of every man in the changing of stations of life, that is the Ashrama system. Okay, now let us move on to the second Purushartha, that is Artha. So these are all the gold coins. Okay, by this picture, we have already understood that which actually this Purushartha is actually related to wealth. Okay, so yeah, Arthashastra encompasses the pursuit of worldly prosperity, which includes the wealth and power. Wealth and power. It emphasizes the ethical and upright engagement in the economic activities. So, what is that? So, acquisition of wealth is important. Like how you have to acquire the wealth. That is the aparigraha. So, what is aparigraha actually mean? It is the non-appropriation. And second, we have the asateya. Asateya, which means the non-stealing. Say, for an example, you can acquire wealth by cheating others, by smuggling, burglary, by doing all these things also one can actually attain wealth. But that is completely a immoral way of life. Okay, and that is called as adharma. So by the means of adharma, one cannot actually acquire the wealth. So it is not only your ends, but your means are also to be pure. So this is actually said by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, so these are all the things which are to be performed in Artha. So now let us understand about the ancient texts which are talking about this Artha. Okay. So the very famous book, that is the Kautilya's Ardhashastra. And apart from that, we also have Shukraniti. So these are all the books which are talking about Artha. And the Sangam text, that is the Tirukural, is mentioning this Artha as the Porul. So the Tamil term associated to Artha, that is the Porul. Okay. So now let us understand about the third Purushartha, that is Kama. So like the majority of the people say that it is something related to the pleasures, intimacy, love, sex, and etc. Not only that, okay, Kama refers to all the desires or pleasures of the man. What are all they? They include sensuality, art, music, beauty, intimacy, love, affection, fellowship, kindness. All of these are part of Kama. Okay, so the right kinds of pleasure. So you can have the pleasure, but it should be right in nature. Okay, so this right kind of pleasure lead you toward your dharma and help you fulfill its passion. Okay, so now let us understand about the ancient texts which are talking about this concept Kama. Okay, the very famous book Kama Sutra, which is written by Vatsyayana, and there are many other books. And the Tirukural, the Sangam text Tirukural, is talking Kama as the Inbam. Inbam. Okay, right. So the final stage of life, that is the moksha. So when you live your dharma fully supported by Ardha Kama, moksha or final liberation dawns. So this is the ultimate pursuit of human beings. So once a human being is born, till his death, he has to follow dharma in every phase of life. Okay. So then what will happen? He will attain the salvation or the emancipation, liberation, freedom from the cycle of death and rebirth, freedom from ignorance, self realization, and self knowledge. So that is the reason in our childhood we used to sing a prayer early in the morning. What does that mean? Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amrutangamaya. What does that actually means? So the prayer actually means we are praying to the divinity, saying that from the non-being to the true being, please lead. Please lead us from the non-being to the true being, from the darkness to light, from the death to immortality. Okay. I hope you have enjoyed the lectures. If you like our content, please do like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon. So whenever we are uploading a new video, you will get the notification. We will meet in the end session. Till then, take care and bye bye.